This is one of our best videos so far. Julius Novachrono and Nacht Faust both share a secret that has not yet been revealed. Can we really trust Julius and Nacht? Or do they have a justified reason for evil actions to create a better future? The further you watch this video, the stronger the evidence becomes. Is it all just a big conspiracy? In this video we show the connection between the elf reincarnation and the Clippeth creation, why Julius and Nacht might be involved in all this without the Dark Triad even knowing about it, and why Asta needs to die so that the Clover Kingdom will not fall. Keep watching, it just gets more and more interesting in the end. Black Clover, the justified evil, here on Yami. Before we start, we don't think that Julius and Nacht are evil. Keep this in mind, we just literally show extremely suspicious facts. You will understand this after finishing this video. Every time Julius and Nacht make me believe that they are not involved in this huge devil conspiracy, something new is revealed that puts both of them back in the spotlight. In the last chapter we learned about Nacht's real identity, which makes Julius' behavior in the captain's meeting even more suspicious. Julius knew right away that Nacht was the Black Bull's vice captain and his personal spy who had operated in the Spade Kingdom for the past 8 years. The captain's meeting was held by the strongest magic knights, some of whom were nobles and even royals. All of them have the greatest influence on the Clover Kingdom and most of the knowledge of all secret informations. And yet, no one knew anything about Morgen's death or that Nacht is the vice captains of the Black Bulls. No one knew anything about the spy in the Spade Kingdom or anything about the devils. The only one in the room, and probably in the entire kingdom, who knows about Nacht is Julius. But apparently he knows nothing about Nacht being devil possessed. We have absolutely no reason to believe that Julius knew nothing about Nacht's devils. He literally disappeared for the entire elf war, only to end up returning with sudden information about devils that he had never mentioned before. But we found a crazy connection that might explain why Julius might even have done this on purpose. Keep watching, my partner Yami will talk about this later in this video. Before Nacht showed up, it was reasonable that Julius knew all this information because of his time magic. We assumed crazy things like Julius traveling through time and so on, but now, with the new reveal that Nacht was Julius' private spy in the Spade Kingdom, things look completely different. Private because obviously nobody knows anything about Nacht, maybe Yami, but Yami won't know anything about the Spade Kingdom. Imagine what happens to Julius' reputation when it turns out that Julius knew about the devils all along but never said anything. How will this look like if everyone found out that Julius was the one who literally collected the two sources for the creation of the tree, Yami and William, and brought them both to his own squad? He taught Yami the local language and made William a mask so that both of them could join the Magic Knights, and not just any squad, but his own, in which he was the captain and thus could watch over both Yami and William. Coincidentally, Morgen, Nacht's brother, was in the same squad. Quite strange that 3 of the members chosen by Julius will have a connection with the devils in the future. He later specifically selected Yami and William to form their own squads, and Nacht was sent to the Spade Kingdom as his private spy. In the course of the story, Julius had the last magic stones for the reincarnation of the elves that end up in Patri's hand after he defeated Julius Novachrono, which made the entire reincarnation possible in the first place. The entire fight was bullshit. If Julius is really as strong as everyone thinks, he should be able to restrain Patri without any problems, even though he didn't want to hurt him. I mean, think about it. The Wizard King Julius Novachrono with time magic is unable to catch someone like Patri, who is, compared to the new power level in Black Clover, really not that strong. Let's face it, Nacht, for example, wouldn't have a single problem catching Patri. Why did Julius put on such a big show and even get injured by one of Patri's attacks? Come on, this is Julius we are talking about. With all the new reveals, it is very questionable why exactly he didn't want to hurt him. William betrayed the country at the moment, and Julius, as the Wizard King, should have prioritized the entire kingdom and not a single person who was threatening the existence of all citizens. He brought the magic stones knowing that the Eye of the Midnight Sun would unleash something terrible, and he even suspected that William could be Patri all the time, even if he wished it wasn't the case. Even a suspicion alone will be enough not to bring the magic stones to the meeting with the #1 suspect of the most dangerous terrorist organization. Julius then lost the stones and disappeared from the war the moment Zagreus' plan was fulfilled and just before he received the body, making Julius unable to fight a devil for the first time. Coincidentally? Or did he avoid the fight? Julius then suddenly came back to life when it was all over, and despite the crimes William had committed, Julius released him and let him continue to work as a captain for the Magic Knights, while at the same time imprisoning the same people who worked for William, punishing them for the crimes that William is responsible for. But unlike William, they actually switched sides and helped the Clover Kingdom to win the war. What the f***? How does this make any sense? And this is not everything. This crap about Julius goes on. He suddenly has new information about the devils and that Asta must apparently die, or that the Clover Kingdom would otherwise fall. We never really get the reason why Asta is going to die, as Julius completely ignored the request to explain this. When exactly did he gather this information in the time of death and coming back to life? The only way to get this information was before the elf reincarnation. He should have got this information from Nacht, and only from Nacht. On the other hand, Nacht showed a big interest in Asta and knew everything about his magic power and his devil, just like Julius. That means that only Nacht could have told Julius that Asta would have to die to protect the Clover Kingdom, but more on that later in this video. As I said before, my partner Yami will give you the final conclusion, the connection between the Clippet creation and the elf reincarnation, why Julius and Nacht might be involved without the Dark Triad knowing about this, and why Asta needs to die. Keep watching, it just gets more and more interesting in the end. When the Dark Triad emerged, Julius was again unable to fight the devils to protect William and Yami from being abducted, because he had lost all his strength, which again made it impossible for him to fight the devil the second time. Later on, he again didn't join the Spade War, making him the only one who's not facing a devil. But Nacht is suspicious as hell too. He only appeared after Yami and William had already been abducted, although he definitely had the opportunity to show up beforehand. All of this could easily have been avoided, especially considering how fast Nacht can move from one point to another. Nacht was a spy in the Spade Kingdom for almost 8 years, but only managed to get the plan as soon as Yami and William were kidnapped. It looks like everything was set up so that the ritual could begin. Now we come slowly to the final conclusion.
This fact becomes even more clear if we take a closer look at the moment in which the Dark Triad was first introduced. Zenon, Dante and Vangeance sat at a table discussing their plan. Zenon asked Dante why they waited 6 months before attacking, which means that all the preparations for the creation of the Tree of Death had already been fulfilled by an event that took place 6 months ago. And the only thing that happened 6 months ago was the creation of the Shadow Palace and the reincarnation of the elves. Perhaps the creation of the Shadow Palace was necessary in the first place to make the creation of the Clifford possible. This becomes even more evident as the Shadow Palace is clearly linked to the underworld, as Zagrid was able to get his own body while he was in the Shadow Palace. Furthermore, as a result of this entire event, William's body could be separated from Patri's soul, thereby allowing William to be the catalyst for the Clifford ritual. Otherwise, Patri and William could simply change souls and the ritual would have become impossible. All of this would make Julius even more suspicious, considering that he was the one who gave William the power to be a captain of his own squad so that he could select the members of the Golden Dawn, who would then be the bodies for the reincarnation of the elves and cause the Shadow Palace creation. Because Zagrid knew that Patri's soul was reborn in William's body, which is the catalyst for the Clifford ritual. Lucifero must most likely had known about the situation and then informed Dante about it, which is why we can conclude that the mentioned event that must have happened 6 months ago, which was necessary for the creation of the Clifford, can only be referred to the elf reincarnation, and this is the reason why Zenon Zenon asked Dante why they waited for 6 months. As a result, Nacht could have received this information and then passed it to Julius. Julius then caused the loss of the last stone and then disappeared shortly before the reincarnation and came back to life with new information that he most likely received from Nacht as well. Now, back to why Asta has to die for the kingdom to survive. Isn't it strange that after Julius came back to life, he suddenly had the information about Asta's death and his devil, which he most likely received from Nacht, who then appeared not far too late, shortly after Yami and William had already been kidnapped. And then the first thing Nacht does is visit Asta. He knew immediately where Asta was, and that Asta is possessed by the devil and that Asta is the key to winning against all devils. This is a clear connection between what Julius suddenly knew about Asta and how Nacht believes Asta is the reason the devils can be defeated. We know that Nacht said the Clifford can be destroyed through the use of anti-magic, but the fact that Julius has the information that either the Clover Kingdom will fall or Asta will die, combined with Nacht's knowledge that the tree can be destroyed with anti-magic, opens the question of whether Asta will be okay after he destroys the Clifford with anti-magic. Is a simple anti-magic slash enough to destroy something so complex, or does it even take Asta and Liebe themselves to destroy the Clifford tree? Maybe something of some sort of ritual where the tree can be destroyed for the eternity using Asta and Liebe as catalysts, much like the ritual of Yami and William, where both were used to create the tree, and maybe it was necessary for Asta to perform the devil binding ritual so that Liebe is freed from the grimoire to be used for a possible ritual, just as Putri was separated from William's body so that William could be used for the Clifford creation. And here perhaps is why Nacht and Julius could possibly have provoked the creation of the tree, because the tree may need to be created first before it can be destroyed for good to prevent the tree from being created again in the future. There might be a difference between stopping the tree in the human world and destroying the tree for eternity so that it cannot be recreated in the future again. We know the tree was created before, which means that stopping the tree will only postpone the next creation a few years or centuries into the future, but it will never solve the problem of the Clifford being created again. In addition, a situation in which the Clover Kingdom is completely destroyed would bring Julius' goal of a fair life between all social classes one step closer. This is called a revolution, in which something has to be destroyed in order to create a new foundation for a better future. Something that people have done many times in our history before. So, hope you guys enjoyed our theory. We worked hard to bring this theory to you guys. So, it would be really helpful if you guys smash the like button and hit the comments below and let us know what you think about our theory. And also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you are new to this channel. That's it for today, boys. See you guys in the next video. Yami out.